All right, let's create a really simple animation. Obviously, you can see that animation can get to be really complex and that people can do really sophisticated things with lots of really cool artwork and drawing. But you can also start with things that are really simple and like stick figures and simple line drawing animations. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to pick this first one that's here, and I'm going to click on Create, okay? And this is what I get. This is what you see when you first look into Adobe Animate. And let's look at what we have here. So this big white area here, this is like in Photoshop, your blank image that you're going to work from. This is where you would do your drawing, where you would manipulate photographs and images that you could bring in. You can actually bring pictures in, create backgrounds from real pictures, things like that. But this is your workspace here, right? Over here on the right, you'll see these are the tools. And they're actually kind of similar to what you used in Photoshop, right? There's like a lasso tool, there's a text tool, different shapes, lines. There's a pencil tool and a brush tool, and you'll get to be familiar with all of these. The other really super important window is down here. This is what's called the timeline. Now, you'll notice that it breaks down into these little chunks, like 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. These are the individual frames. So if you think about it, this blank canvas here, this is frame number 1. So you think about animation. Animation consists of multiple images that are played back so that you see them. Like if you have 10 images, they just cycle through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see the images one at a time. And for example, in film, right, when you're watching a movie, what you're really seeing are 25 images per second that are very quickly going up on the screen. So there's a lot of images involved and they move fast, but that's what creates the illusion of movement, is seeing these frames displayed one after the other in succession, right, very quickly. So right now we're in frame 1, and you can see there's a little tiny little circle right there. That's indicating that right now it's empty. There's nothing here, right? So let's do something like a simple little 5-frame animation right now just to get a feel. And we're just going to go straight to the pencil tool here. I'm going to go to the pencil tool. And the pencil tool right now is set, you can see, to the color black. You can obviously click on that and you can change it to whatever color you want. This little thing here is very important. It's called pencil mode. And there's 3 modes: ink, smooth, and straighten. If you accidentally are on straighten, like this is good for straight lines, but if you're trying to draw something curvy, when you let go, what it does is it straightens a little bit, right? It actually alters. It actually tries to make it seem more smooth to you. Now that could be cool if you're drawing something with a lot of straight lines, but if you're trying to draw like a face or something, you want to stick probably to ink. So let's do something super simple here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw like the horizon, okay? We're looking out at the horizon. Here's just a line. Now, I have one drawing. Now, how do I get to the next frame or the next drawing? So this is the part, you'll do this over and over again, you'll eventually have it memorized, but you go up to Insert, then down to Timeline, and then you do what's called a blank keyframe, Now when you do that, notice something. I've got a blank canvas again. It's all blank. And I've moved over to number 2 here, see? And it's also blank. Notice here, if you look closely, frame 2 has a little circle that's open. Frame 1 has a black filled in circle. That means in frame 1 we had a drawing there, right? But in frame 2 we don't yet. So I want to continue drawing, but here's the thing, like I want to continue drawing something that's happening on the landscape, but what do I have to do? Do I have to just remember where I drew it? That would be really hard to do. So they have a little interesting technique, and it's kind of hidden, but it's really useful. It's called onion skinning. Now see this little icon right here in the timeline. If you click it, it turns on what's called onion skinning. Now what this means is that even though I'm in frame 2, right, I can see back to frame 1. So I see a ghost image. It's almost like if I put a piece of tracing paper over the last drawing. So This helps me a lot because I may want to just trace right over this again, because often in animation you have to kind of trace over what you did. And it doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to draw another little version here just to make it last 2 frames. But this time I might add something like a little thing that's coming up out of the horizon. Now I'm going to repeat this process. Insert, timeline, blank keyframe. And again, I'm going to loosely trace over my horizon, but this time I'm going to make this thing a little bigger. Like for example, let's say I'm having a little seed that's coming out of the ground. I'll do it again, insert, timeline, blank. And again, I'm going to trace. And this time, each time I draw it, I'm making it a little bigger, a little different, adding on to it. Now you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Right now I only have 4 frames, right? What if I continued this all the way to say 50 or 100 and each time I kept changing it, right? Like for example, I'll skip ahead, but let's say I go to insert another blank keyframe and I could end up doing something where I've got my horizon and I may have something that's fully, like a full little flower with branches, right? And I've got this whole thing up here. I'm just making something super simple. I can get involved in using other tools like the paint bucket tool, more green, and you kind of get the idea here. So what does this look like when I play it back? Well, I'll go to Control, Test Movie, and let's see what it looks like. Now notice it's going really fast. It's going really fast. But that is a quick little 5-frame animation. Now, this would look a lot better if I made 50 frames, because it would be more gradual. The more frames in a way, the better, the more realistic it looks. Okay, so that's just a quick little introduction to using blank keyframes.